From the BBC World Service, in association with ABC and Akashvani, this is Stumped.
Hello and welcome to Stumped, your intercontinental hit of news, features and debate from the quirky world of cricket. I'm Alison Mitchell in London.
Hello, Jim Maxwell for the ABC in Sydney.
And it's good to be back. I'm Charu Sharma for Akashvani in Dubai.
With India's men in the World Cup final, we're going to look back at the 50-over World Cup by presenting our Stumped Awards this week. Virtual ones, not real ones per se. But yes, India have made it into the final of their home World Cup, and it's 10 wins out of 10 for them now. They beat New Zealand by 70 runs in the semi, a match that delivered a moment that will go down in Indian cricket folklore, and that's before the final has even been played out. Virat Kohli notched up his 50th one-day international 100, the first person ever to do that, passing the iconic record of 49 held by the legend that is Sachin Tendulkar. And the little master was indeed watching on as Kohli cemented his place as a great of the one-day game. He was eventually out for 117 off 113 balls and also broke Tendulkar's record for the most runs in a single ODI World Cup. Now, a few weeks ago, you might remember on Stumped, we spoke to Paddy Upton, who was the mental conditioning coach when India won the World Cup in 2011. And he actually preempted Kohli's dominance in this tournament.
In talking to him in the lead up to this World Cup, I said very openly, and I'm not just saying it now after a couple of good innings, Virat is going to do well. He is so ready. His mind is so in the right space. He is going to give nightmares to opposition, and he's going to continue doing that. He's ready. He's on form. He's a warrior, and he's so far ahead of almost everyone else in the cricket world in terms of his mental, physical, emotional preparedness for this event. And if India gets to the final, Virat is going to be high chance he's going to be the guy who's going to go and fetch gold.
Wow. Paddy Upton knows Virat Kohli. Charu, how can you sum up just what he has achieved and his status now on the back of that semi-final moment?
Well, it just rises now, doesn't it? Already called King Kohli, I suppose, that alliterates better, but maybe Emperor Kohli now soon. But, I'd just like to remind everybody listening that there was this 3-year phase when everybody was at him because he wasn't really performing or scoring decent runs in either test matches or ODIs or T20s. He stopped playing the T20s now, but he did have a big trough, as it were, in his performance. And so this is a huge bounce back. And as Paddy said, if he always had this mental, physical strength, this fabulous fitness, then what ailed him for 3 years, which is a huge kind of period in international cricket. But anyway, he's out of it. He's in obviously very good shape mentally and physically, always was. He's also, I think, being far more careful. He's building his knocks up very carefully to the point where yesterday, the knock he played in the semi-final was below a run a ball almost all the way through, except right at the very end. And if you play at a strike rate of 100, that takes your team to only 300. So in a sense, of course, the whole world is probably enjoying Kohli's success, and certainly those around him, the Indian team and all the Indian fans. But to win matches such as these or to win matches internationally, he probably has to do something about his strike rate. I don't know if there was a monkey on his back about reaching 50 and getting the better of Tendulkar's record. Probably not. But now that that's over, I expect that he might change his style a bit and just score a little more freely.
Jim, does it make his story even more compelling, the fact that Kohli did have that slump?
Yes, I suppose so. But around him, he's had a number of other batsmen in form, but he has been extraordinary, particularly in this semi-final against New Zealand. Just the variety of shots. And every time I see him hit one from about the off stump to deep backward square, I think, that's Azharuddin. No, it's better than Azharuddin. Those wrists are just extraordinary. And his ability to put bowlers on the back foot, particularly on the good pitches that they've had in these series, he's very hard to bowl to once he gets in. And he's not the only one in the Indian team that's given this appearance of mastery, of some insatiability when it comes to wanting to score more and more runs. And it's the way he goes about it, as Paddy Upton mentioned there, because he's got total command of his body and his brain and his game. And we've seen an extraordinary example of batting skill during this World Cup.
Well, it was a near perfect match for India because they had specialists. Not having Hardik Pandya as their main all-rounder there actually helped them rely on specialists. So all the batsmen scored the runs, most of them pretty quickly, and all the bowlers did rather well, Shami particularly well. But you make a very important point. I think the pundits are also alluding to the fact that the start given by Rohit Sharma and, of course, Shubman Gill played a very important role in ensuring that the rest of the Indian dugout, should we still say, or pavilion, was calm. And then managed to, of course, take it all forward. I think no praise too high for Shreyas Iyer's knock, because that really, with about a 150 or more strike rate, was the key in helping India get to a score which eventually proved too much for New Zealand. And once you have 397 on the board, chances are that the bowlers are also calm and relaxed. Yes, they went for a few runs, but nobody went for excessive runs. And Shami's top two, or the first 2 wickets, and the middle two, those four, were critical in ensuring that New Zealand got under a lot of pressure to try and score those runs eventually because of the run rate required. And the balance three were bonus wickets, and why not? They go to the best man. But the top 4 wickets that he took were fabulous, and they kept India in the hunt because there was a period in the middle, Alison, where India, and you could see that look on Rohit Sharma's face saying, oh gosh, no, really, are they going to make it? Because they were humming along pretty well at that stage, say about the halfway stage of the New Zealand chase.
Right, now on Stumped, I thought it'd be quite fun if we handed out some metaphorical World Cup awards. So we're going to have a look back at this men's World Cup, and 1 million fans have attended the event. It remains on target to break the record and become the most attended Cricket World Cup ever. First virtual and metaphorical award we want to give is for the moments of the World Cup. And, there's been moments of controversy, there's been records broken, there's been shocks as well, and moments when Australia were 7 down with only 90 odd on the board, and then an incredible turnaround. So go on, Charu, then you first. If you had to pick out your moment of the World Cup, what would it be?
Well, eventually, I think that ridiculous situation where Angelo Matthews had to return without playing.
Timed out.
That was, it was ridiculous. I mean, what material advantage could he have gained by changing his helmet and taking a few more seconds over? It just, it was, I mean, I don't know, it's not a happy moment, but it just is a very significant
memorable
moment,
one.
which should never happen again.
Yeah, memorable and slightly faintly ridiculous as well. It could well result in a law change, couldn't it? Jim, what would you go for?
Well, I have to go for my namesake. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anything like
all
that
in the family.
My life. That was the most extraordinary innings. Okay, abetted by a couple of dropped catches, but once he got into gear, poor old Afghanistan were mesmerised. They kept bowling at him. They had to make him reach, and he was. I mean, it was a classic demonstration of keeping still when you were batting, because he couldn't do any more.
Yeah, the most extraordinary thing. So, and of all the things I saw, I mean, it wasn't just a moment. It went for an hour or more. You could give the moment perhaps when he hit the 6 to both bring up his double 100 and win the match. That if you had to pick a moment, that would probably be it, wouldn't it?
Yes.
I will go for the Kohli moment in the semi-final when he brought up the 100, which passed Tendulkar's record. Tendulkar was there. He was then sort of giving all praise to the little master. It just had all the ingredients, didn't it? And I think I tweeted at the time, wrote on X, it felt written in the stars that Kohli would do it at this World Cup. And for him to do it in a World Cup final at the Wankhede Stadium, all of that sense of history, the place where Tendulkar played his last game of cricket as well. It just all bubbled up, didn't it? And it was a real moment to savour, but came about through Kohli's like a lifetime of dedication and commitment to that cause. And as you were saying earlier, Charu, the comeback from his slump as well, to then have that moment on that stage was just a beautiful, beautiful thing in cricket. Okay, next up then, let's have your standout player. Jim, if I come to you.
Well, it's easy to name a batsman, and you'd probably say Kohli. But I'm going to throw in Mohammad Shami, who's bowled extraordinarily well. I mean, in a tournament, on good pitches, fast outfields, and as I've mentioned before, the bats aren't infantry, they're artillery, serious artillery. So for a bowler to take 23 wickets and 7 for in a semi-final, having missed 4 matches, is an extraordinary achievement. So I think he should be singled out amongst a few other bowlers as well, I suppose. But as I say, batsmen always win man of the match awards, and they'll probably win this award if there is one going. But Shami has been exemplary.
He was actually going to be my pick, Jim, so you've beaten me to it. Charu.
Mine too. You stole it all away, Jim. Come on.
Clean sweep.
And to think that he didn't play the first few matches, I mean, quite ridiculous, but he has done exceedingly well. So yes, I would have chosen Shami as well, but let me go different here. I do, one must always welcome the birth of a new star. And now, of course, we know that he was not named as a combination of two names. It was not named after Rahul Dravid and Sachin Tendulkar.
Didn't he tell us that, though? Did he not tell us that on Stumped? No? Is that
I don't know, because, it's clarified by his father, and I'm sure his father named him, not he himself. so
maybe he's believed the stories.
Yeah. So I would like to pick him as the somebody who has burst onto the scene and to do it at a World Cup. Rachin Ravindra, a fabulous performance, and the fact that he can bowl a bit too, not quite as well as Santner, but and he looked so comfortable and easy while scoring the run. Sometimes always lefties do, but I think it's a wonderful addition to the world of cricket.
Well, as an alternative to Shami, honourable mentions to Quinton de Kock, whose sort of performances really were largely at the front end of the tournament, really listed up. The third batter ever to score 400s in a World Cup after Sangakkara and Rohit Sharma, of course. Virat Kohli sitting on 711 runs ahead of the final. You could probably mention Adam Zampa as another bowler as well, who's been really important to Australia getting as far as the semis, 22 wickets going into their semi-final. So, honourable mentions, but Mohammad Shami's taken a clean sweep. I tell you what, Charu, you've preempted the next award, because that was going to be for emerging talent or unexpected star. And he was top of my list, Ravindra. So you might have to give some other honourable mentions there. Jim, who would you have gone for a more unexpected standout?
Well, Ravindra is number one, because I would have thought if Williamson been 100% fit, maybe depending on how the sun was shining or whatever, he may not have played as much. But look, his performance has been remarkable, and from the moment he arrived with that early 100, you've got the feeling, where's this bloke been? 24 years of age, we haven't seen much of him, and we've seen enough of him to make us feel as though this is the next superstar in New Zealand cricket with a bat at any rate. He's the standout. As much as you'd like to go to someone like a Baz de Leader, who we had on the show.
Yeah, it's Tim on, didn't we?
Yeah, not quite in the same category, but Rachin Ravindra.
Well, I have a lot of praise always for Afghanistan, the way they've moved on with their cricket, and they've shown so much flavor and so much hunger to do well. And collectively, it would be Afghanistan. But of course, maybe Ibrahim Zadran for scoring a century against one of the toughest teams in the world. Of course, eventually they wanted to lose that, which is just, one of those crazy situations. We've talked enough about it, because the bowlers lost the plot. They're like, deer in front of the headlights of Maxwell. But to get those runs against Australia, and collectively, what Afghanistan have done is shown us that they are ready for the big stage, which is wonderful news. We can't have the same 4, 5, 6 teams doing well all the time internationally.
On a look at the captains, notable that Babar Azam has announced this week he's stepping down as Pakistan captain across all 3 formats of the game. That's come off the back of their really disappointing World Cup. Pakistan, of course, failing to qualify for the semis, and they only had 4 wins out of their 9 matches. Charu, first of all, on the resignation, did that come as a surprise to you?
Oh, not at all. The poor chap was under so much pressure. In the subcontinent, it tends to happen. Not that they had a really poor tournament, because they almost made it to the Final Four. And had they, of course, he may not have resigned. But he just didn't ever look comfortable as the captain. He was always sort of a little worried and shell-shocked when things didn't go his way. He was batting well enough, regardless. But I do think this is a fallout of all the heavy criticism of Pakistan not doing well, particularly in India. So there's always that, special needle. Had this happened in some other country, maybe people have been less critical of his performance. But no, I'm not surprised at all. I do hope eventually it helps his batting, because he's clearly, for me, one of the finest batsmen in the world. And he did have a reasonably good World Cup, just not good enough.
Yeah. And as things stand, a new director of cricket has been appointed to go out to Australia, Mohammed Hafiz. So it sounds like Mickey Arthur won't travel out there for the Test series, although I think he's actually still technically in the post. It all seems a little bit confusing at this stage of things. What about other captains then at this World Cup? You can look at the captains of those who have made the semi-finals, and Rohit Sharma, Kane Williamson, Pat Cummins, and Temba Bavuma. I mean, of course, not every captain has been there for every match, as we've already alluded to. Jim, who would be your pick as captain of the World Cup, given the fact that the final's yet to be played?
Well, as we speak, probably Rohit Sharma, because he's led the only team that's got a 100% record, and he's done as much as he can with the bat, spectacularly at times, to demolish the opposition. And he's had a cool head, a very cool head. He's shown the calmness that a couple of the other fellas on your list have shown. But you've also got to be able to produce. And he's been able to do that with his team. So, I mean, he's the captain of the tournament so far.
So the only one who can rival Rohit Sharma, who, of course, had a fabulous tournament, the fact that his team's done well, India, is almost secondary, because we're talking about the captaincy here. I think Rohit Sharma's shown every single attribute that you would grant to a really good captain. And the only one who can possibly rival him is Pat Cummins.
And just to finish with then, the most disappointing performance of the World Cup. I think I can guess probably what you're both going to say with this one. Jim, anyone to rival England?
Oh, England get the vote, but Pakistan, Sri Lanka were appalling too. I mean, maybe they've been distracted by the goings-on at home and all the disturbance around Sri Lankan cricket, which seems to happen more often than it needs to, with the interference of big egos and politicians and the rest of it to make sure the thing becomes dysfunctional. And they were dysfunctional. Their batting. England's was pretty bad, but Sri Lanka was worse. It really was. For fellows of that talent to consistently lose 7 or 8, even 10 wickets like that, is as if they weren't quite switched on. So that was disappointing. But England probably, they win the prize if there is one.
Yeah, from the heights of expectation, Charu, to the depths of just 3 wins out of 9.
Well, you mentioned the key word there. You took it out of my mouth, expectation, because when it comes to expectation versus delivery, I mean, surely the defending champions need to put up a better show, because they had done so well. And there's this whole talk about their resurgent kind of cricket, which seems to have lifted the whole world into noticing what England were doing. And then you get to India, where they've been before enough times, and then to play like really shell-shocked. The team just didn't rise to any major occasion. England was the biggest disappointment for me. Yes, you mentioned Sri Lanka, but the expectations for me from Sri Lanka were a lot less than the defending world champions. So England will have to take the wooden spoon, I'm afraid.
Well, that's all we've got time for on this week's Stumped. My thanks to Jim Maxwell and Charu Sharma, and to all of you for listening, and we'll see you again next week. Bye for now.